learn 3 pitches today, the first of which is the rise ball. This is probably the hardest pitch to learn. Let's start with the grip. The grip I use, because I have long fingers, is across the 2 seams. Because my fingers are long, I'm able to keep the ball in my fingers more than most pitchers. A grip that I teach, and it's easy to use, is to hold the ball with your index finger and thumb going with the horseshoe. Grip is somewhat personal. If you can get correct spin with a different grip, then use it. Whichever grip you choose, make sure it results in 4-seam rotation. I like to emphasize keeping it in the fingers as much as possible. The deeper it is in the palm, usually the less spin you can get. At release, the fingers and wrist should snap underneath the ball. Make sure you release behind your hip with your arm close to your body. If your arm extends away from your body, you're taking away from your spin. The ideal spin for the rise ball is straight up and down. You want it to rotate 12 to 6, but 11 to 5 is okay, as long as it's not off to the side. Your catcher should never see the center of the spin. Your weight distribution's next. You'll want to make sure that your weight's distributed back farther than any other pitch, but you want to make sure your hips still stay open. As a learning tool, I concentrated on keeping my back foot on the ground at release to make sure my hips weren't in the way. As with all pitches, your arm circle must stay in one plane. I like to think about brushing my ear on the way up to make sure I'm in plane. Another key is keeping a long arm. If you shorten your arm circle, you're going to take away from the amount of spin you can generate.
When learning the rise ball, keep your back foot on the ground at your release point so your hips remain open and do not get in the way of the pitch.
For most, this is the hardest pitch to learn in softball. Expect it to take a great deal of time to achieve the spin, but don't give up. Usually it takes at least 6 months of hard work to see significant progress, and even longer to master.
Rise ball points. Make sure to throw against a firm front side. Keep your arm loose and relaxed, creating the feel of cracking a whip or snapping a towel. At your release point, snap your wrist and keep your back foot on the ground. This will allow your hips to remain open.
Next is the drop ball. There are 2 types of drop balls, a turnover, which I don't throw, and my favorite pitch, the peel drop. Let's look at the grip for the peel drop. Make sure your fingers go across the horseshoe of the ball. You want to put your thumb and middle finger in line in the center of the ball. With this grip, at your hip, you're going to let the ball roll into your fingers and release the pressure of your thumb. From here, pull your fingers straight out from under the ball to generate the spin. If you're getting the correct spin, the ball should be going straight down, opposite of a rise ball. Your weight distribution for this pitch is going to be a little more forward. Not too much, but enough that you're more on your front foot, but your shoulders back. It's important to have a front side resistance to make sure you get straight spin down. Don't spin out, or it'll affect the direction of your spin. Your hips are also going to stay in line with your shoulders and remain open until after release. This pitch is a safe pitch for younger pitchers to learn, and one of the first breaking pitches I teach to younger students.
To achieve better spin on your drop ball, try pulling up against the ball at your release point. Drop ball points. The correct grip for the peel drop is your fingers across the horseshoe of the ball. Pull your fingers straight out from under the ball at release. Your weight is more on your front foot, keeping your hips aligned with your shoulders.
Last is the curveball. Most pitchers use the same grip as their rise ball for this pitch. For me, it's across the seams. I teach kids to grab with the horseshoe. With this pitch, you want to have a 4-seam sideways rotation. At release, which is at your hip, your hand needs to be flat. Think about dusting a table with the back of your hand, or even a karate chop type action. Leading with your pinky, your fingers and wrists are going to snap around the ball. I like to feel like my index finger and thumb are twisting the most. If you have a line on the ball, it should be horizontal. The weight distribution of this pitch is back to neutral. You don't want to be forward or too far back. Again, your arm circles should be in plane and not sweeping behind your head. Step straight down the target, not over, as stepping over will create an angle and not a better break on your ball. Keep your back shoulder back at release, giving you the front side of resistance for your snap. Like the other pitches, keep a long arm, and your wrist snap is the key.
Make sure you step in the direction of your target. Trying to create an angle will not give you better spin.
Be careful when throwing this pitch. It can cause your mechanics to be thrown off a little bit. Make sure you're snapping around the ball and not across your body. Lastly, don't force your shoulders and upper body around to make the pitch move.
Curveball points. The grip for the curveball is the same as the rise ball grip. Fingers across the seams. Thumb and index finger going with the horseshoe. Always keep a loose arm. At your release point, your hand should be flat like dusting a table with the back of your hand. Make sure to step straight at your target and snap your wrist around the ball, twisting with your pinky and thumb.